your surgeon choice is so important. So I really wanted to be an Azizi doll. I always feel like God's outpouring of grace on my life when I walk through those doors.
Hey friends, this is the Next Level Glam podcast, and I'm Glam Gal. Thank you for joining me as I discuss all things transformation inside and out with my sisters in Christ. Pull up a chair, it's about to go next level.
Hey, girlfriend, thank you for joining me here today. How are you doing? Like life be lifing, but God is Godding, right? So even though right now I am literally going through a lot behind the scenes, I know He's got me. And I am so incredibly grateful for some of the sisters in Christ that I have reaching out to me because we might be few in number, but we are mighty in spirit. So thank you again for joining me here today. Let's go. I know last week I mentioned how we were going to do a new episode on a completely different topic. But after I posted the episode Best Booty Life, I've had people pop in my DMs and want more information, specifically like who is my surgeon. So because the interest is there, I'm going to listen to the listeners and give you guys what you're asking. I really wasn't holding out on you guys. It's just, it needed to be its own episode. There's just so much to say and so little time to do it in on these mini-sodes. But I guess what I'll do here today is give you who my surgeon was and my review of my experience thus far with him. Hopefully, this information will help you further along on your journey, whether it's just to encourage you to keep researching for surgeons, give you an idea of what you should be looking for, or, obviously a referral if it links up that this is something that speaks to you. I mean, I'm by no means gatekeeping. Like I said, it's just been a journey, like opening up about the process in general and trying to break down these episodes so that it's not totally overwhelming. And so I just thank you for your patience as we finally get to this point. And I hope that those who requested it or are curious about it enjoy it. Because finding the right surgeon, it's like maybe more than half of the battle. It's very important. So as you can tell by the episode title, Azizi doll, I am an Azizi doll. I went to Dr. Ramson Azizi in Chicago, Illinois at Ram Plastic Surgery. I'm going to fast forward to the end here a little bit and just give you a sneak peek about me loving my experience. It would totally bless me to send any his way, really, and, help keep him in business and also in the same hand, help a fellow sister get to their goals safely. Like that would be amazing. But I would hate to send a client that would be a nightmare. Honestly, as somebody who works in the service industry like myself, a bad client can just be the worst part of your day. Just a reminder as you go about your search for a surgeon, whether it's Dr. Azizi or anybody, remember that this is a two-way interview system. Like, as much as you're interviewing this surgeon and you're getting inspected for a consult, they are interviewing you and how you guys jive and what kind of person you are. And they want to trust that they're going to have to, that their patient is going to meet them halfway. Listen to their recommendations, listen to their instructions, be respectful, pay their bill, that kind of a thing. So I just wanted to preface it with that. So if you're straight up miserable and, just a hot mess, maybe don't bother this one. Okay. It goes to say, right? Like we get what we want from sugar rather than salt. So, be kind. I know I shouldn't even have to say that to you guys. I'm sure you guys are all sweet muffin little cupcakes, but I just wanted to say that to cover my own butt. I've said it once and I've said it twice, and I'll probably keep saying it until you can't stand it anymore. But I really did pray heavily about this whole entire situation. I mean, that I would look to God to provide in every area. And one of them was leading me to a surgeon with my top three. And it's like, when you're shopping for a house and it can be overwhelming, it's like pick 5 things in a house that are like absolutely non-negotiable, right? Like for me, it was air conditioning, a bathtub, garage, you get the picture, right? Same thing here with finding a doctor. It's super, super helpful to look at it that way because it can be absolutely insane and overwhelming amongst all of the surgeons. If we're being honest, I really wasn't somebody who wanted to spend time doing a bunch of consults. First of all, consults from a good surgeon usually going to run you at least $100 for what should be about a half hour to an hour of their time. So I really, really wanted to be efficient because I didn't just want to start, throwing hundos around like money didn't matter. And also, I just couldn't see myself going through several consultations in that really humbling tissue gown paper. Like, it was a whole part of being vulnerable that really, really intimidated me. So I was on a mission to nail it down. I get kind of sweaty when the spotlight's on me, so to speak, and that tissue paper it starts to melt. So it's like, do I really have to go through seven different surgeons to find the one, or can we make this as painless as possible? You know? But a lot of people might have to do multiple consults. It's not out of the realm of possibility. You definitely shouldn't rush it. And you should definitely, like I said, pray about it. The good thing about these days, though, is if you do want to travel or you don't really want to take a drive in to see a surgeon, there's always virtual options. Like ever since 2020, virtual has opened the doors, so you're able to, have a virtual consultation and not have to spend all the time and energy getting down to their office. But honestly, the in-person consults really, really are like the best thing to do because there's a lot of nuances that they can't really tell in photos. And honestly, for your own experience too, meeting the surgeon face to face, I think is really, really good for you. And it gives you a sense in your intuition, if it's something that is giving you peace or not. So again, it's absolutely possible in the same hand to do enough research where you might only need one, where you find the one, right? The first thing too is that you want to figure out what kind of a person you are. So there are places, clinics that are kind of borderline, I would say, chop shops, in my opinion. Like, I'm never going to advise anyone to go out of the States for surgery, and I'm never going to advise anybody to go to one of those clinics because I can't imagine it, but you have to do what's best for you. But there are some really great doctors at these clinic-like facilities where they have their credentials, they are having great results, they're more affordable, but they don't give you that hand over hand care. You're lucky if you see them for like 10 or 15 minutes in your consult. And then, sometimes people don't even meet their surgeon until the day of surgery, and then they never see them again. That is one route. And people who want to save money and feel like they can figure things out on their own, they might go that route. Or if a surgeon that's popular, that's making waves, especially in like the Miami area and stuff, they might want to go that route. The thing with going to those clinics, though, is not only do you not have that personal connection really with your surgeon, but they do multiple big cases a day. I don't even really know how many they're doing or how many they've done before they even get to you. For someone like me, I wanted to go more of the private practice aspect. Okay. I wanted something that was going to hold my hand. So before I even knew what kind of things I was searching for, I already knew off the bat I needed a private practice. And I knew it was going to cost a little bit more. Okay. And like a lot of bit more, actually. The first three things that were on my list was location. Like I've shared in episodes past, I figured I wanted to be, close enough to home, but yet getting to the urban area to go to somebody who is an expert in the field. And in the cities, obviously, they're doing far more BBLs than out here in the sticks. So location was super important, and that like really narrowed it down for me. The other thing is the credentials, like making sure that they're board certified. Hey, again, like double board certified is great. I think it's the ASPS they have to be a member of. You want to make sure that they're a master in whatever procedure that you're going for. That's what I mean by credentials. Things like infection rate, complication rate, all of that was figured into the credential aspect. And the third thing that was super important to me that might seem superfluous to some is personality. Like I said, when you have that interview process, you're going to get a good feel whether you guys get along, if there you can catch a vibe, because you're going to be going through some very serious procedures, and you know, there's going to be some uncharted waters there, and you want to make sure that you can be on the same page as your doctor, that you feel safe and comfortable reaching out to your doctor. So, really wanted to make sure that personality stood out to me. I didn't really want a stick in the mud, so to speak. Location, credentials, and personality, those were non-negotiables for me. And I know God heard me because literally that long after I was making this prayer, guys, that Dr. Azizi popped up on my radar. And he almost seemed too good to be true. When I was researching Dr. Azizi, there wasn't a whole ton of people on those pages that have had surgery with him and stuff. So I was still a little wary because it's like you want to make sure that it's not too good to be true. But I'm telling you, the more that you research, you'll find a lot of information that will make you feel really, really good about your choice. At the time I had my consult with Dr. Azizi, he was located at a small clinic located in a hospital in Lincoln Park, Chicago. So that's like 3.5 hours away from like where I live, which isn't, right next door. But he was dealing out bodies that were competing with Miami results and the out of states results where he was really shaping some hot bods, and I was really digging his results. You get that vibe the more that you're spending time looking for your wish picks. I want to look like this person or I like their shape. You're going to get really good at understanding what kind of work that you like. Speaking of wish picks, I just want to say, because I'm always about helping you establish healthy, good expectations for your procedures, is that remember that those are in fact wish picks. And some of these people never had surgery. Some of the people you're looking at have had lots of surgery. Some people don't even have the same foundation that you're at, but it will give the surgeon an idea of what you're looking for and try to help you aim for that. Most doctors or the good surgeons are going to give you expectations that they can reach, and a lot of them like to overachieve that. And that's a really great feeling too, that when you come out of surgery, and you're recovered, that it even surpassed your expectation of what they said they could do for you. So that's always really great. At the same time, we need to be aware of what we're bringing to the table, so to speak, the surgery table, obviously. It'd be like you wanting platinum blonde hair, especially in like one session, right? And you have layers of level one black color all over your hair. It's probably totally not possible, but some improvement is, right? It's about adjusting those expectations and all of those things. And I know people are like, what is with this lady comparing hairstylist to plastic surgery? It's like, plastic surgery and hair, I mean, not only are they both like servicing people, but it's very visual and it's very scientific at the same time. I know they're completely different fields, but I feel like they're somehow related. But if you do go after that platinum, it's not going to happen in one session, and it's going to be lots of sessions, and it's going to be lots of money. So same thing here. As I was approaching that aspect of my research, I really, really felt that he had the capability and the skill to take a challenging case and really make such a huge improvement. And I'm not saying that my situation was the worst out there, but I am a very self-identified, self-aware, challenging case when it comes to what I started from to where I'm at and also where I'm going. You have to remember a lot of surgeons, like social media and stuff like that, in general, they're always showing the more perfect candidates, right? And the greatest results that they have. I think that's what really sealed the deal for me, because as much as he did have some perfect candidates and, just like those perfect results, right? That perfect scenario, I did see that he worked on bigger bodies as well. Like, I do believe that his upper body limit, so his BMI limit to have surgery with him, is about 30. It used to be when I first started going up there, it was up a little bit, but he's brought it down to having to be a 30 BMI. So I don't like to speak for him because I don't know how he runs his business, but I do know that there are some larger, lovely ladies who wants like breast reductions and things like that he's done for them. And that's something I wanted to mention because yesterday I posted in my story, in my Instagram, about a lady who had massive weight loss, which is MWL when you're out there talking surgery. She went to a surgeon just based on comfortability, and she's got severely botched results. And that just feels absolutely horrible. I don't relate to being botched at all, but I can relate to some disappointment along the journey, and you feel for people. Once you really go through surgery, you understand a lot about empathy. She was a massive weight loss person, and when you've had massive weight loss, which I think they say is at least 80 to 100 pounds that you've lost, you need to find a doctor who can work with massive weight loss patients because the skin is different. Not saying that a tummy tuck for someone who was, decent sized isn't difficult and doesn't have challenges, but when you have a lot of loose skin as like a massive weight loss patient, it changes the game. And I saw that Dr. Azizi had experience working with massive weight loss patients, and that also verified my choice to continue looking into him as my surgeon. The other thing is the credentials. Not only is Dr. Azizi board certified in plastic surgery, meaning that he's not a cosmetic surgeon, all right? He went through the whole spiel of medical school, his residency, like everything, all right? Cosmetic surgeons can literally be someone who does family practice, took a weekend course on lipo and advertise as a cosmetic surgeon. They're doing damage out there. I've seen it and I've heard it. So it's a total truth. So you want to make sure that they are board certified as a plastic surgeon, bare minimum. But the thing that I noticed is that he was also certified in general surgery. I think he started in general surgery, if I remember correctly, and then he like refined it down to plastic surgery. But he has a lot of experience doing, life-saving surgeries. He told me he was working in the burn unit for a time. He even has some news reports when I was doing my research about some really cool surgeries that he had done. So he was willing to invest in that education and in the path. And it made me feel really good, not only that he was in plastic surgery, but the fact that if something happened on that table, that he would have the knowledge to save my life. It just made me feel like I had a CYA, like a cover your ass situation, where it's like, yeah, plastic surgery, fun part, but things do happen. And just knowing that your surgeon is well prepared for anything that could happen made me feel like this is a good thing, right? As far as the result aspect of Dr. Azizi, his results overall are consistent. There isn't a lot of negative reviews out there. And I mean, as he shouldn't, because when you go out of your way to provide great service and great results for your patients, they're going to respect you for that. And it speaks loudly of him, honestly. I know some people in general have a hard time speaking out when things are negative or bad. There are sometimes like legal implications with that, but every surgeon has complications. Every surgeon makes mistakes. Every surgeon is human, right? You're just looking for the one that's really going to try to focus and take everything into consideration. And when I was telling you, like the other places, you could be sixth in line, you could be second in line. Dr. Azizi only does one big case a day or like two smaller cases. He really tries to focus on the patient, knowing like how excited you are for your procedure, how hard you've worked to get there. He wants to, enforce it as being a very special thing and really puts 100% of himself in for his patients. So it's like very boutique style, very personal experience. And that was something that I saw as contributing to his very consistent results and great reviews that people have to say about him. I know when I visited him in 2020, he had a handful of surgeries that he was offering. You could even see like on his old social media, he had like noses and like other things. But when I found him in 2020, you could tell he was really starting to niche down, letting go of some procedures and really focusing on body work. And that was super important to me because I knew I was going to need a lot of random body work. I knew, like I said, we had a big project on our hands, and I really wanted a doctor who was going to cross that finish line with me, and that you could build that rapport and trust with, because I do take it seriously. I don't think surgery is a joke. I take it very seriously. And I didn't have a desire to be what they call out there a hybrid, somebody who goes to this guy for a BBL and then around to a different doctor. That could be considered a hybrid. But also it could be like if you want your, breasts done by this doctor, and then you go to this doctor for a tummy tuck, and then you go to this doctor for a BBL, and it's kind of like a build a body that way. Where I wanted the same doctor for as many procedures as I possibly could. Like, that's why the consistency on their procedures, them doing them routinely and giving consistent great results, was so important. Yes, I am aware that there are some doctors who are only good at tummy tucks. Like, seriously, there are some doctors who are only good at breasts, but I really felt like I was going to find the diamond out there that could, go in on the long haul with me and really commit to this project over here. It's just one of those things too, where like as you're touching the body and you're tweaking the body and you're doing this and then you're doing that, it can make little nuances. And the fact is, when you're going to another doctor, they don't know what your prior doctor did. They don't know what technique they did. They don't know what they're going to find per se. It's like, it's better if they know you and they can continue to work with you. But that's just my point of view. I really wanted to be an Azizi doll. I wanted him to take what I had going on and make it the best it could be. And that was just a feeling that I had about the whole entire process. So I was easily able to find him on social media as soon as I came across his name. His handle at Instagram, by the way, guys, is Dr. Azizi Chicago, like Dr. Azizi Chicago. And I totally encourage you to go give him a follow. But I was able to get a sense of his personality by his social media posts and that he makes himself present on his platform. I was just literally digesting all of his content and really getting a feel for him. And it's been really cool over the last handful of years seeing his account grow and his whole entire thing take off. As I was narrowing down my choices, I actually did feel like this pressure to book with Dr. Azizi because the more I was getting these results and more dolls were coming in, I was finding more testimonials and stuff. I was just like, looking at his prices and knowing some comparisons of what I was seeing out there, I really felt he was going to take off start to get booked. The prices were going to go up. And I don't think I'm wrong on that. I think it was 2 to 3 months after my first surgery in July of 2020. He did a pretty nice jump there in prices. So I was really grateful that I joined him when I did. So that worked out beautifully. By the time I got to meet him at my consultation, he was like a celebrity to me. I just really loved how he treated his patients, his results, and his he really has like this passion for plastics, and you can totally read that off him. And he kind of thinks outside the box. And anybody who wants, great work done to their body, who wants a great experience, of course, I'm going to refer you to Dr. Azizi. But I'm all about people doing their own research too. Even though I think he's like the greatest of all time, right? I think he's the GOAT. I know that other people want different things and have different budgets and different locations and stuff and just different priorities. And that's okay. There are options for amazing surgeons out there. Dr. Azizi isn't the only one, but I just obviously, yes, I'm going to refer him. Again, verified at my consultation. And like I've said, a lot hangs in the balance at the consultation. I was already sold, to be honest. This was really for my husband and really for Dr. Azizi to accept me as a patient. So some people really struggle finding a doctor with a great bedside manner. And Dr. Azizi has a great bedside manner. But again, guys, when you're going through surgery, it's like some parts of it are just some parts of it, and you're going to have to learn how to handle it yourself. But Dr. Azizi, that he cares. Like, he's one that actually cares about his patients. I do recommend that you take a list of questions with you to the consultation. There's a lot of information flying around, a lot to remember. And so, because sometimes you're like, okay, I don't care. Let's get the robe on and get the heck out of here, right? Dr. Azizi answered most, if not all, of the questions I had before I could even ask any questions. When God led me to Dr. Azizi for my surgeries, I really could not believe how God had blessed me with the best of the best, because that's what Dr. Azizi really is. He's the best of the best. I like to boast in the Lord that he provided me with, a top Chicago plastic surgeon. This is where you learn also what you get provided to you with that price tag. Things like the anesthesia cost, the anesthesiologist and stuff like that, hospital fees, that was going to be all included. All follow-up appointments. This is not to be overlooked. This is a huge bargain. Like I said, some people never see their surgeon again. They check in with some nurse, but Dr. Azizi always does a standard few checks. I think it's like as a base, he does like 1 week, 3 weeks, maybe 3 months, and then maybe a 6 month if you want. If you feel like you need to see him more, he's gonna make that time for you. If he feels like he needs to see you more, he's gonna ask you to come in. And you really should oblige, because this is how the plastic surgeons are tracking their progress with you, how you're healing, how they're gonna hear concerns right away from the get-go, instead of you popping in 6 months later after skipping all of your follow-up and being like, I'm not happy with such and such. These appointments are super important and honestly so valuable to you. I mean, like the consult thing, the $100, like people are like $100, but imagine like you for 1 hour and you can pick their brain. So he is going to give you a plan. He's going to tell you what you have. He's going to give you so much direction about your situation and your potential and all of that, that the $100 is well worth it. Other cool thing with Dr. Azizi was he takes any person that signs up from a consult to the surgery. He's going to put that $100 towards your surgery, as well as like the deposit. When you pay your deposit, that's all going to be going towards your surgery too. He also included the garment I would need and some surgical supplies, not all by any means, but like definitely a nice to break the ice and get you rolling, which was really cool. Back in the day, he had like a 10% discount in cash. So, I mean, you're like, big deal, 10%. But like, trust me, when you're talking thousands and thousands of dollars, 10% is actually quite significant. I think now, though, maybe he might be more like 5% cash. And some of his prices, again, have gone up. Some things have changed over the handful of years, but I still think he's worth it. I think his price point is fair considering the level of work that he's doing and the care and commitment he's giving to his patients. I love the fact that he always responds on his Instagram, whether you're a patient or not. Like, I remember him like replying to some of my questions or comments before I'd even met him for a consultation. And there's never been a time that I reached out to him on Instagram and that he ignored me or didn't get back to me. I mean, in general, during office hours, you can always call and they're going to have somebody that can help you or direct you or whatever if Dr. Azizi is busy. But when you need after hour stuff, like just go with me here that when you are going through the thick of it and you can't remember, what did he say about this? I honestly can't remember. You can just reach out on Instagram and send him a message and he will get back to you. And that is such an awesome feature, because some people have no clue. And then they're just taking all kinds of solicited advice off these surgery pages with like so much different suggestions, and it's like you really need to be able to trust your surgeon and be able to contact your surgeon, be in touch. I also liked on his social media that he does this thing called the Q&A. He does that like usually on Fridays, not every Friday, but like every so often he does this where he asks the listener, if they have a question about anything surgery related. Sometimes he gets like a wider range of questions, which is really cool because yes, it's a surgery page, but like I said, this personality thing is actually really important. And when they share about like their lives and stuff, and you get a picture for who they are as a person, they'll take like an hour or so and hammer out some of those questions and answer those for you. And I always love that because it's like, wow, a surgeon that educates you. I mean, he doesn't even care if you're not even going to come to him. He's willing to pretty much educate anybody who has a question about plastic surgery, which tells you how passionate he is about it. Since my first consultation with Dr. Azizi to where he is today, he has moved from a small clinic in a hospital to his own surgery center. And that alone has many amenities, to which now, like, you have the surgeries there. Instead of having to be, at a different hospital than he was at, it used to be like a completely different area that you'd have to go for surgery, and have to deal with the hospital staff and stuff that he had like no control over, basically. So now a lot of things are in his control that make the experience overall better. And I know that because I've experienced both. Oh, yes, his prices have risen. Like, whose hasn't really? What hasn't gone up? But even, outdoing what he used to offer all included, now he does like hyperbaric treatments. He does in-house massages. He has like a package for you. He gives the top of the line surgery garments, supplies. It really does make you feel like it's a bougie experience, to the point where sometimes, like, literally, I'm so humbled when I walk in those doors and I'm like, wow, I don't know how I got here or how blessed I am to have been here and had this opportunity. And I always feel like God's outpouring of grace on my life when I walk through those doors. I can't even like get into it here right now, but since I've had all of my surgeries, here's some reasons why I highly recommend Dr. Ramson Azizi. Okay, you ready? His dolls, his patients, they are really a league of their own. They're very fantastic. Most of them are super kind. And I think that says a lot. They all have amazing testimonials. Maybe one or two people that have had some nuances happen in surgery, and that is just a risk of surgery. It's all about how the surgeon handles it, quite honestly. Like I said, he's real, he's genuine, he's kind, he's patient. Laughs at some of my jokes, which is like super important to me. If anyone has to spend time with me, you kind of have to, you kind of, come on, just give me some laughs. After my first surgery, even though it wasn't cut and dry with my results, because like I said, we've been breaking the big project down. It's like asking if a color is done processing before the timer is up. So I've always struggled with sharing my results and stuff because I just don't feel like I'm done yet. I literally told like three people I was having surgery, and like I came down like a week later and they're like, "We'll do a spin, let us see." And it's like people have absolutely zero clue about surgery recovery and the length it takes. They really think that you pop off the table and you're ready to party, and that is couldn't be further from the truth. Sorry to break your heart, but that's just the truth. I had enough experience though to know that this guy was a real one. After my second round, which I'm going to share about in the future, I encountered a very heavy, intense situation. And the way that he handled me in that situation, and my husband too, he went from being the GOAT, the greatest of all time, to the GOAT squared in my point of view, and he always will. My husband and I saw God move through this man, and I will never forget it. He handled the thing like a total pro. Just know that that's what I'm talking about. Your surgeon choice is so important. So it's okay if you're fixated on it because it is a huge deal. But like I'm saying, like you need to pray about it and do your research, and you're going to do great. My results have been solid though, like for real. It's always the comparison game. If I start comparing, like, oh, well, what about this doll? And look at me. I mean, you're just going to be in a dire strait, feeling super, super disappointed and sad at times. And that's not the vibe. It's like look at your situation, where you started, where you're at now, and be fair in judgment. And I have solid results. I mean, a lot of people like they don't recognize me. And that to me is great because I'm all about being incognito. He's had a unique and tailored approach to my personal situation that most that go to the broad clinics just don't experience. You're just not getting the full experience there. And now, this little episode, by the way, was just me quickly brainstorming reasons why he has taken and continues to take all of my stacks of dinero. Okay. Be sure to go to his Instagram, Dr. Azizi Chicago, Dr. Azizi Chicago on Instagram. And, if you're a kind lady and you have an appreciation for his craft, definitely book yourself a consult. You can definitely tell him Glam Gal says hello, but be sure if you go to that appointment, I want to hear about it. So make sure that you're in my DMs. I want to be there for support and like pep rally and all of that. Answer any questions again if you guys have. I really want to just welcome you in and being like, you can ask me anything and I'll either answer you right away or I'll try to make an episode on it right away because it really is about catering to the listeners of what you guys want to hear while doing and sharing what I feel like the Lord wants me to share on here. You can pop in with any question. It doesn't have to be about plastic surgery. It can be about the many topics that we discuss here on the podcast and that we haven't even encountered yet. So anyway, Dr. Ramson Azizi at Ram Plastic Surgery in Chicago. I would say like 11, 12 stars out of 10. Yeah, one of the best aspects about my life so far has been becoming and staying the path to being an Azizi doll. And that's just part of who I am. I can't wait to get back on his table to keep working on it, if we're going to be frank here, because that's pretty much the mission at this time. It's hard work on my end. It's hard work on his end. It's hard work on my husband's end. But all of us working together, I'm really, really excited and motivated to get to that next stage. I hope all of you have a wonderful week until the next time I drop a new episode here at the Next Level Glam podcast. But for those of you who are on the hunt, happy hunting. And until next time, guys, grow in his grace.